It's time for us to go to the Jeparit Rainbow Storm. And while they're not playing, the clouds of storms have been all over Peter Weir's paddocks out there at Rainbow and Jeparit and Jeparit. And Weir is with us now. How are you, big fella?
Yeah, very well, thanks, Wayne. And then, it's a great start to spring for the crops with, another inch and a bit of rain throughout the week. And luckily for the footballers and netballers that have got grand finals on the weekend, it looks like the weather will clear up for a nice day on Saturday afternoon.
I'll tell you what, it was a nice day that I was just happened to be at Lake Albuquerque, and there's water in the middle of it, Weary.
Yeah, it's amazing. Hopefully it continues to fill, even though that's a dream that's probably not going to happen, Fly Man. But yeah, it's great for the area that the Rainbow Lake's been introduced as well as an old reservoir. So I'm sure over summer that'll get plenty of use, even though the big lakes probably won't fill.
Oh, yes, I heard about that when I was in town, about a wonderful Rainbow Lake aquatic water facility that your town will get this summer. Fantastic news. And great news, too, about the new bridge that goes over to the other side of the Outlet Creek. And that's been finished now, and that was good to be able to go over that and for the first time. And Weary, I was in Ian's IGA, and this beautiful lady at the counter, she told me that Peter Weary's still my favourite.
Oh, that's good to hear, Flo, man. Good to have a bit of local support. Unfortunately, the footy teams are all out this weekend, though, so nothing to support this weekend. But it is good when the local community gets around the footy teams.
They certainly do get around you, that's for sure. They love you, and so they should. And what about this week? A big week. We've had the count for the Horsham district. Scotty Carey. He's won it 3 times, and he must be trundling around about your age, Peter.
Yeah, he's still getting the job done, Flo, man. He's a great midfielder down there at Stawell. He's captained the club for a long time, and he's been a premiership player at that club, and they love him there, and he's the heart and soul of the group, and he always brings his best every time we play him, and he obviously does that every other week too, to be on the top of the medal count for 3 years now. And there was some good runners up too with the McIntyre boys from Eden Hope polling really well, Flo, man, and also Michael Close was 1 vote off him as well. But another well-deserved medal for Scott Carey of the Stawell team.
Oh yes, and good players there at Rapanyup too. Great stuff in the context of winning a 3rd medal. It's hard to win one, let alone go through 3 times. And well played to your boys. It was good to see a couple of your lads right up there, actually. I think it was Jay Kerwood and Scotty Driscoll you mentioned there, and both of them, congratulations. Now, you're talking about medals. You've got one coming up this Saturday, and the count, it's going to be across the grades, earlier stuff in the afternoon, about 4:30 at the club room. It's going to be the kids. I want to go through from the 14-year-olds and through 17-year-olds, and then the 2s, and then in the 1s. First in the 14s, who do you reckon will be up there?
Oh, very even season, Flo, man, and I'd imagine the vote count will be very similar as well. Xander Ekman had a great year through the midfield, and Will Fisher does a great job in there every week, and he always catches the eye of the vote givers. And also, Lenny Weir, as we know, throughout the year, played some good footy at either end of the ground, and someone like Dustin Eckerman was a very much improved player who might steal a few votes as well. So I think it'll be a pretty close count in the under-14s.
All right, 17s. There's a couple of real gun kids there in probably 11 or 12 of the older boys. Who do you think will get the votes there?
Oh, Louis Cox, for the amount of games he played, I think he'll win it. But, if he doesn't win it, Jamie Ekman had a really good season across half-back, and expect him to poll well. Okay,
the 2s. The Great Rock didn't play enough games this year, which is saying something.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be Rock's year to win the best and fairest this year, but I think Matty Millwood, who's a little midfielder, continued to get votes every week and win a lot of the ball. So I think Matty Millwood will win the reserves count.
Okay, I know that you checked the list to see how many votes you got in the association medal, but do you reckon you'll get a couple of votes, or do you think Jay Kerwood might have you covered?
I think Jay will well and truly have me covered, Flo, man. And as the league medal went, I'd say it'll be a great contest between him and Scotty Driscoll at the top of the leaderboard. And, that one could go either way.
All right, either way. Other vote getters may poll well. Do you reckon Ash Clugston, a few votes and some big games early on?
Yeah, Ash played really well early, but then as we know, he hurt his leg, so that'll slow his vote getting down. I think Jacob Cox will poll well. His second half of the year, he was continuing the top 3 or 4 best on-ground getters, so I think he'll probably round out the top 5.
Brilliant stuff. All right, let's have a look at the games. And the Keys got over Harrow Balmoral 12-17-89 to 8-15-63. And a grand final awaits them now for the Rapanya Panthers. How did you see that game?
Yeah, huge win by the Kalkee boys. I think it does show in our competition, the top six, just to be in that top two is such an advantage. It is very hard, no matter how good your team is, to make it from outside of the top two, but that takes nothing away from the Kalkee boys. They really capitalised on the Harrow team, probably been a little bit off their game, and that's one thing you can't be against the Kalkee team. So great win, well led by Simon Hobbs through the middle of the ground.
Okay, we'll have a look at the other games and then come back and get your tips for the grand final. Let's go to the reserve grade. And last weekend, it was a very, very good preliminary final. The Rupp boys come out and kicked 11-5-71, beat Harrow 5-9-39, and Harrow out in both senior grades. You don't see that very often in this comp.
No, they've got great depth, but obviously the Rapanya Footy Club this year has just got that little bit better depth, and they'll be very pleased with themselves to join the senior team in the grand finals this weekend.
Wonderful effort by them. The 17s, the preliminary final was the boys out at Kalkee thrashing Rapanya 24-14 to 3-3. It was like a freight train going down that line from Warwick.
Yeah, not so good a results in the juniors for the Rupp boys, with their team going out in straight sets by about 20 goals each time. But yeah, the Kalkee team go through to the grand final this weekend against Pimpernaya.
Yeah, good on them. And that 11 goals from Jake Krieg, I mean, how good is that in a prelim final? You'll talk about that for a long, long time, I'm sure. Probably will do some other things in his career from here on in too, I'd say. And what about the kids, the 14-year-olds? It was a good performance from Canaiva Lior, 7-6-48 to beat Rapanya, 1-6-12.
Yeah, they're too good for the Rupp boys, and yeah, that'll give them another crack at the Laharam under-14 team this weekend in the grand final.
Looking forward to that. Okay, starting there. Can Canaiva respond and beat Laharam? Let's just have a look back a couple of weeks ago. They only lost by about 2 goals, but the scoring shots were 10-11, so there can't have been much in it that day, and I just wonder whether the Cougar boys could get a flag.
Yeah, I'm with you, Flo, man. I reckon this will be the first game of the day, and there'll be an upset straight away. And I think the Canaiva boys will be able to reverse the result of the previous final and just sneak over Laharam in a close one. Okay,
Pimpernaya and the Keys. Last time that these the boys got out there, they didn't play each other in the semi-finals, so that doesn't give us a very good guide. But Pimpernaya thrashed Rapanya, and the Keys beat Swifts that weekend, so by a big margin. So this could go either way.
Yeah, I think it'll be Pimpernaya to lose, but as we've just seen with the Kalkee boys, they've given Rapanya a big touch-up as well. So I'd say the result might be closer than be expected, but yeah, it might be Pimpernaya's turn to take home the silverware in the under-17s.
The Radua Kwantong take on Rapanya in the Big Twos final, and the Bomber boys will be hoping to put the Panthers away.
Yeah, I think they will. Reserves footy seems to go up about 200% in finals, Flo, man, and it becomes quite a spectacle. And a few of the old boys find a few gears that they forgot they had during the home and away season. But I think, with the Rapanya senior team being in the grand final and a bit more representation of senior players and finals experienced players in the Radua Kwantong team, I think that'll see them too good and win the premiership.
All right, I'm going to go with you there too. Rupp play Kalkee in the big one at Horsham City Oval Saturday. The rain that's been falling has fallen heavy. It could be pretty wet underfoot, even though it could be a clear day. That could play, I think, into the hands of the Keys. I think that the Rupp boys will probably enjoy a bit drier footy. So I'm just going to pick the Keys here in a bit of an upset.
Yeah, Flo, man, it could go either way, and as you touched on, it will be a little bit wet underfoot down there at Horsham, even though it's played on the Horsham City Oval, which is obviously the best deck and the premier ground in the area. But, I think on Saturday there is a bit of a westerly forecast, which will favour one end of the ground, and I think it'll be really important for both teams or both want to start well. I think Rapanya's best would be better than Kalkee's best, but, if Kalkee can get that quick start and start to worry the Rupp boys, that will be a great advantage in the game. And as we know earlier in the year, Rapanya have only only lost one game, and it was against the Kalkee team. So they'll go in full of confidence. Of both teams have got great players. I think, if Kalkee to win, Simon Hobbs probably needs to be best on ground again and kick 3 or 4 goals out of the midfield. And I think if Rapanyup can get up, my tip for the medal will be probably Elliot Kelly, because he's built for finals. And if Rapanyup do win, it'll be a close struggle, and look for him to be a standout player.
Yeah, I reckon the big guns like Braden Ison, who's come to the club, Jack Musgrove. You think about the fellas then that have been around a long time for Rupp, that have played years, Tylers and the Fellons and so forth. I just feel for them that this is their moment, and maybe. Even with that and with the conditions of the ground, I just think that their moment is to take this flag. So even though I've said I think the Keys could do something, I do think that the Rapanyup boys, it's their moment. And I just look, if they lose it, then they've got to come back next year and do it again. So this is their chance, I think.
Yeah, I think they are the best team in the comp. They've proved all year. They've got probably the most talented list, and they've been really well coached and led by Jack Musgrove. And, as you touched on, it's been over 20 years, I think, since the Rapanyup team's been in a grand final. So it'll be a great day for their community, and it'll be great to see their reserves in the grand final. And as you'd expect in a grand final, it'll be a great tussle. And, there's good players on both sides of both teams and on each end of the ground. So, it'll be a great contest, and I just think that start flow, man, will be so important. So look to be who's up at quarter time to maybe go home with the premiership.
Oh, what a game of footy it'll be. It's the big one on Saturday, and Weir's got it covered, and we'll close it next week on our final program with a reprise of the winners and the grinners, and also the best and fairest at the Jeparit Rainbow Storm from this weekend. All the best, Weir, with that.
Thanks very much, Wayne.